Okay, now that we've gotten the idea for what our draft story is going to be about, we're going to look at math achievement for immigrant students based on their immigrant status, and also taking into account the context that that immigrant student is going to school in. Is that immigrant student going into a school with very few other immigrants or many other immigrants? We're going to look at a draft of how we might present that story. Even if we're still working internally, we want to present something to our editor or to our team, it's nice to have something that's a little bit exciting or interactive to look at. And one of the ways to do this is making a Tableau story. So we're going to take some of the graphs that we've made and some new graphs, and we're going to make a Tableau story. Down here, it's the little book shape. So you say new story. And in Tableau, you can drag any sheet you want to be in your story. So the first thing I'm going to drag is the average math score comparing first-generation immigrants to not first-generation immigrants. And I'm going to add a little caption. You can say anything you want. I'm going to say math achievement is comparable among first-generation immigrant students and others. Then go over here. I want to add some more stories, so I'm going to add a blank story point, and I'm going to drag my second sheet here. And what this is showing is math achievement by immigration status varies by country. So this is illustrating my second sheet here, which shows the different countries and how the first-generation immigrants and not first-generation immigrant students compare. And you can see there are some countries where the green dots are above, showing that the first-generation immigrants are achieving more in math, and then that there are others where the green dots are below. So this is a key. I would probably want to look at some of the countries that have really, really big gaps in both directions. And then I'd be interested in looking at some of the countries that have very small gaps or no gaps here. I'm going to add another story, and that is going to be this one, which is kind of the most important aspect of my draft so far. And I'm going to say here, context matters. Proportion of immigrants in the school effects is related to individual performance. So this is the heart of the story. This is the most important thing I'm trying to say. This is kind of the peak. And this graph shows it generally. Then the next thing I want to do is I want to show it in individual countries. So this is the first generation and not first generation and not first generation, all within the same country, with schools that have high proportions and low proportions. So this is how you make a Tableau story, looking at context within countries. And I don't really I'm not too happy with the way that this particular axis is being labeled. And so since I'm importing this one, this is how I have it. I can click on this little button and it will take me right to this. And any changes I make here will show up in my story. So what I want to do is make that much smaller. Let's see if I make it 8. Still not going to look great, is it? It looks a lot better. So this is how you can tell a story, and there are so many ways to format a story. we're going to include a tutorial on formatting Tableau stories in your course materials, but just briefly, you can choose here the size of the story. You can make it a fixed size, so that means however people look at it, it's that same size, or you can make it an automatic, which is usually nice. That means whatever type of screen the person is looking at it on, your story will adjust to be appropriate for that size. And then there's all kinds of ways you can change the caption boxes, the numbers. You can change the color of the story titles. You can change the background color. You can change the text. You can do a lot to make the story look exactly how you want. And then once your story is ready and you want to, say, share it with your editors, you can just go right up here to Server. And if you're using any form of Tableau at all, you can click on Tableau Public and save to Tableau Public, or save to Tableau Public as, if you want to call it a name different than this Tableau workbook name. So you can save it directly to your Tableau Public account. However, if you are working internally, some newsrooms have private servers, and you can publish your workbook there. So this is a quick and dirty overview to how to tell your draft story, kind of like for a pitch meeting. This is the kind of thing you would take to a pitch meeting. And then once you have done your pitch and done all your reporting and you're ready, this is also a great way to set up a dynamic data narrative that you can show to the public once you've taken the time to format it, and the public can just click through and read your story. One thing I should add that I forgot is you can always add a text box. This is a story about immigrant students, math, achievement, and the context that matter. So that is a way you can add wayfinding to your story as you go through. So a quick and dirty overview of using Tableau stories to create dynamic online storytelling with no programming at all. We've just scratched the surface of how to use Tableau services optimally, and check out the links to the Tableau storytelling tutorials in your course materials.